The reason some have asked the question, why are we so fixated on visceral fat? What is the point? This is week number 11. Week number 11 that we're talking about visceral fat. I'm going to tell you why. I'm 64 years old. 64 years old. I've been in this industry for 35, 40 years. Learned a lot about bioecclesiology, herbology, and natural medicine. My goal was to not get the diabetes that my mother had and that my father-in-law had. So Joanne and I were focused on that. So we began studying all these things and learning all this stuff. But I'm ashamed to say I had no real clue as to what visceral fat was. I didn't know that it behaves in the body like it's a different organ. I had no idea that really, truly, the bottom line reason for many of the serious health issues that are existing today centers around obesity. It's at an epidemic level, and I feel like I missed the boat. And so I want to make up for lost time. I wanted to be able to make sure that every single piece of information that was available became available, even if folks didn't hear it here live on these meetings. They get a chance to see it. It's recorded. It stays on my YouTube channel, so it's going to be available for you to pass on to others. Yeah, the entire playlist is available to pass on. But there are about 130 million people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic. Wrap your mind around that. One third of the US population, diabetic or pre-diabetic. Ask yourself why. How did it get there? It started with metabolic syndrome. What's metabolic syndrome? That's when the body's not responding properly to glucose. The insulin glucose interplay is off. Insulin's in the body, glucose is in the body, but the glucose isn't going where it's supposed to go. Where's it supposed to go? Inside the cells to give us energy. It's not going there. Where's it going? Visceral fat. It's packing itself around the abdomen. It's packing itself around your organs. It's like, imagine you're trying to ship some delicate china from one place to another in a different country. You're trying to ship it over there and you want it to be there without breaking. What do? You put some popcorn in the box. You shove some paper in between. You pack all the loose space in there so that none of the glass can break. It can't break into or bump into each other and cause the delicate china to chip. Well, that's what's happening inside the cavity of our abdomen where our organs are. Visceral fat is like that popcorn. It packed itself all in there. It'd be okay if it was just lifeless popcorn, but it isn't. It's metabolically alive. It's shooting out something that's akin to fire. Imagine fire and knives being shot out from inside there. You don't notice it. We're not consciously aware of it. There's no indicator light on the body saying that it's happening. But the next thing you know, diabetes. Next thing you know, high blood pressure, heart disease, cancers, you name it, all precipitated by the fact that we got this organ, this extra organ inside our body, visceral fat. And I'm off script a little bit here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about, what we're going to get to the slides here in a minute. But what locked it in for me was for years, I'm really good at understanding how the liver, if you unlock the liver, take the body out of starvation mode, it can release the visceral fats. Real good at that, but didn't really truly understand the science behind it. So you lose the weight comes back on again. You lose the weight again, and the weight comes back on again. Always able to, to get rid of it really quickly. But it wasn't until I was personally dealing with my own health challenge. It was nothing major. I just had a cyst on back of my head here, come around every 5 years or so. But this one, for some reason, wasn't going away. So I decided to just give it some serious attention. And in my giving it some serious attention, started using things like high doses of Dr. Prasad's formula, some systemic enzymes, and some other things. And then suddenly I lost like 2 pounds in one day. I thought, what in the world happened? I was on the GLP-1 boost, but 2 pounds in just one day just went away. It was directly related to the increased effort in attacking the cyst. So I went to my assistant and actually ran this by a few of the partners in the nonprofit. And the answer came back, well, guess what? The same science that's holding that cyst together, that causes it to bind together, that's now breaking apart, is also causing the same thing that causes visceral fat to grip to your organs. You're also whacking that away. Because I wasn't hungry for some reason. I shifted to a point where I wasn't even eating until 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon without even trying. I became what they call OMAD, OMAD, 1 meal a day. I wasn't even trying. I slipped into that purely accidentally. And that's what made me decide that if I could do it accidentally, what happens if we did it on purpose? What happens if we reveal this information to everybody, that you can actually literally get rid of visceral fat if you want to? Turns out the very same thing that leads to diabetes, the very same thing that leads to all these other issues with our organs, is the very same thing that's causing visceral fat to stick to our body. You can get rid of it. You can shut down the inflammation. You can shut down the oxidative stress, and you can shut down the insulin sensitivity. You can stop it based on what you put in your mouth. Supplements will help, but it's here. It's all in here. It's all in what we decide to do. So we declared war. My entire team, we decided it's time to declare war against visceral fat. And everybody decided to let's jump on board. And fortunately, Jeff Ashby, very knowledgeable in this area as well. And plus we have Dr. Prasad and his amazing formulas. And that makes the whole thing easier. So if you're afraid of intermittent fasting, you don't have to worry about that, because Dr. Prasad's formulas is like intermittent fasting in a bottle, in a pill. So the self-control aspect of it is not an issue. It's not a problem whatsoever. But I said all that simply to say that's the reason why we jumped into this war on visceral fat, because anyone who gets it is going to be better off for it. Anyone who decides that they want to change their trajectory, they can change it. My background, by the way, so for the record, my name is Jonathan Jones, and I'm proud and privileged to be your host and moderator for this afternoon. I'm not a medical doctor. My background is computer science and engineering. I was doing computer engineering back in the 80s. And I went through a complete career change when I saw my mother die, when I realized for the first time that there was nothing that could help her, and that the medical system had reached its limits. The intensive care nurse said to me, and I'll never forget as long as I live, when I asked her what she was doing for my mom, she said, we're monitoring her very closely. I said, well, I'm doing that. I mean, what are you doing to change her outcome? The woman said to me, to be honest with you, Jonathan, we're praying for her immune system to kick in. And that was the moment that I realized my mother was not going to live. And I felt helpless. I felt like, that doesn't make any sense. How can we be in a place where, they got all this equipment around here. They've got this huge building. They got all these doctors everywhere. How do they not know what to do? And they have an immune system kicker in her. Can't you kick it in? So I was raised to believe in the law of cause and effect. So if there is an effect, there was a cause. How come the cause could not be remedied in my mother's case? Well, I've since come to learn that it could be. And your mother does not have to go through that. If you are somebody's mother, you don't have to go through that. The law of cause and effect doesn't just stop because you are a human and you are an adult. It doesn't stop. If there's an effect, there was a cause, and you can change it. So we're here to try to share with you what those causes are and how you can change the way it affects your body. even while you're trying to change the cause itself. Okay, so that's where we are with this. So I'm not a medical doctor. Don't do anything I say because I say it. So this presentation is for information and educational purposes only. I'm a researcher. I've been doing research now for decades. And my wife and I formed the organization, the Healthcare Support Association of America. And our goal is to put information out that you and I, average people, can have access to. It's available. Well, where do you look? So far, we have put together a team, and AI is helping us. You can get AI agents. We're building hundreds and hundreds of research papers, compiling it all, showing and proving how Dr. Prasad's formulas are valid and real. And it makes sense to add his formulas to your protocol. All that information is being made available. So we're digging it up. And we're also putting together simplified protocols so anyone can have access to this information. Not only what you can do for your specific situation, but the scientific reasons why. So that if your doctor is trying to challenge you on it, you can hand them a piece of paper and the doctor can just look it up. Complete bibliography. Here's all the clinical studies backing the rationale that Dr. Prasad used to come up with the formulas and why it should work for you. So that's where we are. And the Healthcare Support Association of America, I'm happy to say that a lot of progress has been made in that area, and we're not stopping until it's all done. We're not stopping. And at some point, you'll eventually have access to the app if it's something that you would like to use or have access to, but it's all being compiled into an app at some point. Want information about it, you can always just send an email to me or my team. Just send it to microdailyjonathan@gmail.com. I'll put that in the maybe somebody in my team can put that in the chat for me. microdailyjonathan@gmail.com. And we'd be happy to send you information on that kind of thing, if it will be of some value to you. So today's the discussion. Not going to be a very long discussion. We will allow some room for a few questions toward the end. If you do have questions, and if there's anything that I may have missed or forgotten, then fortunately, we'll be able to have Jeff here that can help us to plug in some of the holes. But here we are, the visceral fat war. And remember, if you hear testimonials, anything that you're hearing today, they're purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. We're not saying that any of Dr. Prasad's formulas or any of the supplements that we recommend will treat, cure, or heal in any way, shape, or form. This is for education and information purposes only. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust when making decisions about your health and your well-being. But we're talking about the metabolic sink. And if you were wondering, what is this metabolic sink thing all about? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that. See, how many of you have heard, and you can just raise your digital hand, how many of you have heard that there's people out there using GLP-1 drugs that end up with muscle issues? Has anybody ever heard of that? Just raise your digital hand if you've been hearing anything about that. In fact, if you even have seen evidence of it, it's been all over the internet. It's even been on the news. People are wondering and worried. Why? I had a good friend of mine that said they saw that I was down 25 pounds. What are you doing? I said, well, we figured out what it takes to get rid of visceral fat. And a lot of folks said, well, didn't think you had 25 pounds to lose. Oh yeah, I had 25 pounds to lose, just like most people probably have at least 25 pounds to lose. And I've got probably another 8 more to go to get the rest of it off my gut. I'm not stopping until it's all gone. But when I explained that there's a natural way, a natural supplement that raises no, in fact, I didn't even say that. I said nothing. I said a good way to get rid of visceral fat. Her immediate response was, I do not want to go anywhere near any of that GLP-1, no those drugs, GLP-1, nothing. I don't want to even hear about it. So I said, well, there's no problem. There's a simple protocol that you can, use if you want to that will help you. I sent her one of the videos. I believe it was one of the videos in this series on the war on visceral fat. And you know how nowadays you can tell when someone has opened your email or looked at the video or something. She never even clicked on it. She probably saw the title and that it was centered around GLP-1 boost. In her mind, it was all about Ozempic or Mounjaro or something like that, not realizing that uh, that it's a misnomer. To think that Dr. Prasad's formula has anything to do with this anywhere in the same conversation with those drugs, because it's not in any way, shape, or form. So, but anyway, we'll show you that here in just a minute how that is the case, because this metabolic sync thing is about preserving lean muscle is as the ultimate biochemical shield against visceral fat. So when we talk about using GLP-1 boost, it's all about making sure that you keep the muscle that you have. As we age, sarcopenia is a real risk for seniors. It's a real risk. So you have to be doing something to not lose that muscle. And what you do to not lose muscle literally contributes to your ability to burn the visceral fat. Immobility, lack of physical effort towards getting rid of the visceral fat, can actually sabotage your whole effort. So that's what we're talking about in these few slides. There's only about 10 slides here. So, and we may not be able to get through them all. I'm just going to share them with you, real quick, and take screenshots of anything that you like. And if you want the research on it, you got my email address. I'll be glad to send you any of the research or references behind any of the information that's mentioned. And I hope somebody put it in the chat there. So put my email address in the chat, please. microdailyjonathan@gmail.com. So here's the way how the body's on lockdown. We already figured out, we talked about this last week. Jeff did a phenomenal job last week showing how seed oil can cause damage to the insulin receptors. That's one of the contributing factors to damaging the insulin receptors on the cell. Rusted lock is basically what it becomes. And once insulin receptors can't be triggered by insulin, glucose remains outside of the cells. And when glucose remains outside of the cell, the liver turns that into visceral fat. It turns into ectopic fat, and eventually leads to visceral fat. And ectopic fat is not a good thing. It actually can do damage to your organs itself, and all of that was covered last week. So if you want to take a look at part 10, you can again go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jonathan Jones, and that will get you access to all of the previous episodes of this series in our war against visceral fat. Last week, Jeff did a great job of showing how omega-3 bypasses the insulin receptors. I mean, just wrap your mind around that. Independent of insulin itself, independent of insulin, whether you're insulin sensitive, insulin resistant, doesn't matter. Omega-3 literally bypasses insulin receptors, turns the key in the lock, just like a master key, triggers that AKT signaling pathway, which literally allows glucose to go into the cells. Dr. Prasad told us that about maybe a year, 2 years ago. And it's still blowing my mind to this day. I had one client who there was nothing she could do. She was taking all kinds of great products. I think she was, I believe her situation was she could not afford to take the correct amount of microdaily. That's what it was. She couldn't afford it. I told her, get Dr. Prasad's omega-3, a little less expensive. Make sure you take it about 30 minutes before your meals. It will cause her cells to open up. The glucose will go down. Her sugar levels will normalize. I thought nothing of it. I just was relating the science from Dr. Prasad. And about 2 or 3 months later, I got bum rushed one day and said, that was unbelievable. That omega-3 worked. Mommy's glucose levels went down. Her A1C dropped like a rock. Everything got better. And so that was validation of exactly what Dr. Prasad I had said. So that was a direct situation, which, by the way, that's a great way if you really want to try to reinforce your efforts with GLP-1 boost. Take your GLP-1 boost 30 minutes before your main meal take omega-3 at the same time. Not only is it going to help the glucose to go into the cells, there's another little, oh, by the way, that the omega-3 does. It releases something called CCK, cholecystokinine. That also tells your brain you're satisfied. So not only is the GLP-1, the satiety hormone, cholecystokinine also contributes to that. So the brain says you've had enough food. You literally become satisfied earlier in the eating process. And omega-3, that combination of omega-3 and GLP-1 boost, it's pretty amazing. And again, this is just pure science. But okay, let's get back on track here. So now that the glucose pathway has been reconciled, right? Glucose is going into the cell. The bottom of the screen, you see what it says? It says, so what? Once the glucose doors are open, the sugar needs somewhere to go. It needs a sink. And guess where the sink is? This is why I really like this next slide. Because it can go one of two places. The biggest sink in your body is your muscle. Okay, because just again, try to wrapping your mind around this. That glucose is going somewhere. The place that is most needed is in muscle. So if you've got a nice large sink that the glucose can go into, which is healthy muscle, it will absorb 80% of most of that post-meal blood sugar, 80% of it. So that's one of the reasons why you're encouraged to do at least a 10-minute walk after you eat. If you can, go do a 10-minute walk. It doesn't have to be a hard walk, just go walk, or don't do the trampoline after you eat. Give yourself a little time for your stomach to settle after you eat, or you can do the health bounce on the trampoline. Don't go airborne. Just make sure your feet just remain on there. At least get some movement, lymphatic movement. But if you go for a walk and do something, your muscles will help to absorb that glucose. And if you got good, healthy muscle, 80% of your post-meal blood sugar will go into the muscle. If you have sarcopenia, that's where the muscle is starting to become brittle. Muscle is less absorbent. It's an old sponge that's not absorbing anything at all. Eventually, that broken vessel overflows, and the yellow stuff you see oozing out there, lipogenesis, leads to lipogenesis, and visceral fat is the ultimate consequence of that. So muscle is the key to the whole thing. So the crash dieting trap versus metabolic sync protocol. So on the left side of this chart, you see right there in the middle, you see the consequences of this crash dieting, what everyone is doing these days. And I'm not going to mention the word Ozempic or Mounjaro here at this point. We already set the stage that this is about avoiding the consequences of that kind of dieting, which really actually literally becomes more like starvation. Okay, that's really what that kind of a diet is, because there's no educational information about it. And when the person comes off those drugs, then they come out of a fasting state, and often coming out of the fasting state, the consequences is worse than before they got started. So the side effects is starting to manifest itself in a big way, no pun intended, for people taking those GLP-1 injections and other things, not understanding the correct way to do it. So the person who's focused only on the scale, that's a problem. That's where that particular crash dieting is. It's how much do I weigh? How much do I weigh? That's where the primary focus is. Basically, the body goes into survival mode. It kicks into starvation. Survival mode is where the liver is where that switch is. We talked about that back in episode 1 or 2, where when the liver goes into survival mode, it takes the glucose and every bit of food, nutrients that's coming in, and packs it away as ectopic or visceral fat, putting it away for a rainy day because it says this food's trying to kill me. I'm not, I better put this away to make sure that if, that I don't starve. So if it ever kicks into starvation mode, all of the food, all the glucose goes in, gets packed away. That's starvation mode. The liver does that. In that crash dieting, that leads to sarcopenia. That leads to this plunging BMI. That's the base metabolic rate. That leads to declining. So in other words, you're not burning fuel properly. It's going in the wrong direction. It's like being on the highway and taking your foot off the gas. It's just slowing down. And so the more it slows down, the more that fat just gets packed on. The consequences, visceral rebound. Whereas if you've got a healthy metabolic sink and you're on the right metabolic sync protocol, oh, now your focus is more on body composition. It's not so much about what the scale says. It's more about making sure that you lower the amount of visceral fat, increase the amount of available muscle. In that situation, you're properly nourished, you're in an anabolic state, the liver realizes everything is fine. It's not storing away visceral fat. It's literally opening up the gates to allow the visceral fat out. All those fat reserves are being burned up as fuel. And it's free fuel. It's like going to the gas station and instead of having to fill your tank up, you've got solar panels that's been charging up your batteries. So you really only need about a gallon of gas instead of 30 gallons of gas because you're using batteries. And so it's automatic. It's like self-charging. That's what happens in that situation. The metabolic engine, well, that's different. Now it's expanding base metabolic rate, muscles being preserved, and the metabolic rate is expanding. It's becoming much more efficient. It's like having more batteries being added on, more solar panels being added on. Everything is working better, more productive, and it's stable. Nice, solid, smooth working engine. The result, permanent fat loss. There's no rebounding here. There's no yo-yoing if you do it the right way, if you understand what's happening inside your body. And I'm telling you right now, parts 1 through now, we got 2 or 3 more parts to go, basically just kind of spells it all out. And we will compile all of this into a very simple, probably in our final episode, we may just kind of condense everything into, okay, here's what we'll do in the very final episode. Here's the overall information that you need if you really want to get rid of visceral fat. So you see kind of at the end there, this is really a major point to keep in mind. Severe calorie restriction forces the body to burn precious muscle tissue for emergency fuel. When normal eating resumes, the shrunken metabolic sink, which is the muscle, cannot handle glucose, packing it back on as deep visceral fat. Now, does that help anybody understand what happens in the Ozempic and Mounjaro world? Potentially. Does anyone understand how that potentially could be the case? In a healthy metabolic engine, your body is in a rhythm. It's in a rhythm of demolition and rebuilding. So if you're doing intermittent fasting, you're demolishing and you're rebuilding. You're demolishing and you're rebuilding. You're demolishing and you're rebuilding. So on the left side of the screen, you can kind of see the whole cleanup stage there. This autophagy. When you go into autophagy, that's during that fasting window. The most efficient fasting window as a baseline is 16-8. That's like the typical fasting window. 16 hours of fasting, 8-hour window where you have 1 or 2 meals. That's a very typical thing. So during that fasting time period, you want to keep insulin levels nice and low. The body's going through this demolition and recycling damaged mitochondria and junk proteins. It's recycling that. So it's breaking it down, chopping it up into useful parts, and throwing it back into the engine. Then you kick over into what's called the mTOR pathway. So that's when the body is actually actively rebuilding itself. So it's refeeding off of those broken down amino acids. So the master biochemical switch for muscle protein synthesis and tissue regrowth, that's all taking place. That's the rhythm your body goes into. So on the one side, you have demolition, and the other side, you got rebuilding. Demolition, rebuilding, demolition, rebuilding. And it's a beautiful thing when it's working properly. So that's the system that you want to be in order to have your body working nice, properly, and cleaning. Breaking that fast with refined carbs triggers an insulin spike that immediately forces fat storage. you have to rebuild or break the fast with high quality proteins to activate this mTOR. So Dr. Prasad's protein is a great way. So you can use the protein. If you must have a smoothie or something in the morning, you can throw just about everything in that smoothie. So make a smoothie, use whatever it is you like to use as a base, some organic almond milk or walnut milk or something like that. Throw the protein in there. You can throw your collagen peptide in there. You can get yourself the energy boost, which is a great source of creatine. You can toss that in there. You can go ahead and slap in there for at least 1 or 2 doses of your microdaily. You can also throw that in there and take your first dose of your omega-3. You can add 1 or 2 of those capsules also at the same time. That gives you some of the fat to make sure that your body metabolizes the fat soluble components that's in microdaily. So that's a really good way. That's the best way to break the fast. Now, if you fall off the wagon and somehow or another there's some kind of a walnut crusted pancake with whipped cream and cherries or something on it, or strawberries or some other piece of thing that you somehow or another just couldn't escape. It just chased you down and forced itself on you. Well, then make sure you follow that with some apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and some water, 8 to 10 ounces of water. Make sure you chase it with that. Or make sure you use Ceylon cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon. Do that, and that will stop the glucose spike. Okay? So your goal is to stop the glucose spike at all costs, even if you fall off the wagon. I'm not encouraging you to fall off the wagon. I'm just telling you what to do if you do. Okay, so just stop that glucose spike. Tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, or make sure you drink some tea with a healthy dose of Ceylon cinnamon. I didn't say any kind of cinnamon. I'm very specific on that. That's the one that works. The other cinnamon, just throw it in the garbage. The Ceylon cinnamon, that's the one that will work. Your body loves it. So you want strength training. You want to use that as medicine. Don't think of exercise as some kind of a punishment. Don't think of it as, oh, I just have to do this. Think of it as medicine. Food is medicine. Strength training is medicine. Get yourself a couple little dumbbells. They don't have to be a whole lot. I'm not talking about becoming some kind of a bodybuilder, but you have to get your muscles doing something. So if you want to keep them, you got to use them. So get a couple little dumbbells and just do that every once in a while. Small dumbbells. That's all you have to do to keep those muscles active. And we've encouraged you repeatedly to get that 7,000 steps a day in. So if you can't get yourself into any other rhythm in life, get yourself into a rhythm of doing 7,000 steps in. If all you can do is 2,000 or 3,000 steps first thing in the morning, and by the way, you can get those step counters on your phone, so they're free. Just install a free app. Just search for it, and you can find a free thing that will tell you how many steps you're walking, and go get 2,000 or 3,000 steps in first thing in the morning. Then when you go do your shopping or whatever, instead of parking as close to the doors you can in the handicap spot, even if you do have a handicap parking ticket, go as far away as you can, get those steps in, and walk from as far away as you possibly can, as often as you possibly can, to get those extra steps in. That's using strength training, exercise as medicine. So resistance exercise signals to your body that muscle tissue is essential for survival. Now, I'd love to just scream that one. I would love to scream that one. When you do some kind of resistance training, get yourself a resistance band, and you use that on a regular basis, like the picture of the guy we saw at the very end. That strain on your muscles sends a signal to your body that these muscles and that part of my skeleton is essential for survival. So guess what it does? It starts routing nutrients to that area. It starts building that area, sends a construction zone into that area. Planking, get down on the ground and get on your elbows with your fist on the ground and up on your elbows, and stay in that position for as long as you can. You're putting strain on your skeletal system. that sends a message to your body: this skeleton is important. It sends a construction crew in there to reinforce it. We can't let this go to waste. This has got to get reinforced. The brain says this is important. This is what this human needs to survive. So the more you put emphasis on using those parts of your body, the more the construction crew comes to the rescue and puts that in place. So essential for survival. This stimulates the release of key hormones like growth hormone and testosterone to combat age-related sarcopenia, which is especially critical for aging and postmenopausal populations. There it is. This is a good screen here to take a screenshot of as well. And can't emphasize enough Dr. Prasad's formula. Dr. Prasad's formula is critical because it has the collagen peptide with the DPP-4 inhibitors. DPP-4 enzymes is like the scissors there you see in the illustration on the left. And that's what standard collagens don't have. Standard collagens, I don't care how much you spend for them in the store. You can go to Costco or Sam's Club or BJ's and buy Costco till you're blue in the face. They don't have any DPP-4 inhibitors or enzyme inhibitors. Your body makes those enzymes, those scissors that you see that's cutting up those fibers. Those are the enzymes in your body that's breaking down the collagen that your body's using for construction work. So your body's trying to rebuild and put the collagen where it's needed the most, in the muscles, in the skeletal system. But you got these enzymes that's going in there, tearing it apart, breaking it down, chopping things up. So you're trying to rebuild and you're breaking down as fast as you rebuild, but not with Dr. Prasad's formula. Dr. Prasad's formula, you can see those shields there, right? That's got the scissors kind of locked off. That's the enzyme inhibitors that Dr. Prasad added to his collagen peptide, and it stays there and lasts longer, just like it does in the GLP-1 boost formula. So it blocks those enzymes, stops it from breaking down the GLP-1 satiety hormones, and also stops the enzymes from breaking down collagen that's being used to try to rebuild your body. It's like a shield around your muscles. You can then only go in one direction. Instead of being torn apart, it goes in the right direction. Add to that microdaily. Microdaily causes the body to produce NRF2. So it stimulates, opens up this NRF2 pathway. Don't worry about what NRF2 is. Just understand something. It's protecting the body. Well, we got a box here that kind of gives a little bit of an explanation of it. So microdaily acts as a cellular fire extinguisher. By activating NRF2 pathway, it neutralizes the free radicals on contact. So free radicals that are coming, trying to impact muscle, especially as you're trying to rebuild, NRF2 is like a shield. And not to mention glutathione. Glutathione, we already talked about that. I think, Jeff, the past couple of weeks, we went over the importance of glutathione when it came to free radicals and oxidative stress and inflammation. So it's a systemic issue. So there is no one single thing that glutathione is good for, except we can say phenomenal for inflammation, oxidative stress, and free radical damage. That's what glutathione does. Dr. Prasad made sure that his formula builds glutathione and elevates it and sustains it. That's called an endogenous antioxidant. Endogenous, your body actually makes it. But he also put a whole lot of exogenous antioxidants in his formula. So that's antioxidants that your body doesn't make, that it can't make. It's got to get it from someplace else. Dr. Prasad added a bunch of those in there as well, not to mention alpha lipoic acid. So microdaily is phenomenal for helping the body to do what it does. So here's your blueprint. This is your blueprint to this metabolic sink. If you want to maintain good, useful muscle, here it is. So the mechanical part of it is resistance training, some sort of physical activity. Get yourself a resistance band. Get yourself some light weights. Walk those 7,000 steps. Do more if you can. The more you put a demand on your body, the planking that I mentioned before, the more demand you put on your body, the more your body sends construction crew into that area to build it. And you need it. If you're going to keep the visceral fat off, you need it. You must have construction work in place. No question about it. You cannot get around it. So put strain on your body. Put strain on your body and cause your body to demand that it provide you with reinforcements. The first time, it may be a little tough. You know, the first time you go to do some exercising, it might be a little bit tough. But trust me, it will get easier. So if you can't do it every day, do it every other day. Do not do it to a point where you put strain on your joints. So you can't put that. That's not good. That's the reason why we told you about the trampoline that uses bungee cords instead of springs, because we want to minimize the impact on your joints. My AI agent that created this slide right here, it's got this woman jogging in the background, but most of us are not in the jogging world, so just ignore that picture there in the background. But walking is the key, because you don't want to have that kind of impact on your joints. Okay, so but mechanical resistance, that's a major part of this blueprint. And then you got the biological part, the intermittent fasting and eating clean protein. You can't be putting glyphosate, weed killer, forever chemicals, plastics, pesticides in your body and think it's going to turn out good. We're fighting against that. You got to eat clean. You got to get away from GMOs. You got to get away from weed killer. You got to get away from pesticides in your food. So you have to search for and locate as much non-GMO products as you can. Filter your water so you get out as much of the microplastics as you possibly can from the water. Even if you boil it, it's not going to get rid of the pharmaceuticals that's in there. So you got to get a good filter for your water. So we may do an episode where we just send out some information or show you how the best filtration systems for water. In fact, there's one that one of our naturopathic practitioners recommended. It's called Zero Water, Zero. So you can get that on Amazon. So in fact, that's the one we have in our kitchen right now. So that may be your best option. You can at least put your tap water through that filter. Zero, Z-E-R-O. It's a filter. So just look that one up. We're not getting any royalties on that, by the way. There's no financial interest on that. I'm just telling you what I know. But that's a good way to clean your water up. That's a simple way to do it. Then biochemical. This is the third part of the invisible blueprint. That's using micro daily, collagen daily, GLP-1 boost, probiotic boost. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is all about NRF2. This is putting out the oxidative 5 DPP-4 inhibitors in the collagen and the GLP-1. That is structural scaffolding. All of that will just help to stop those scissors from coming in and breaking down what you're building up. Imagine if you were trying to build a house and every day the work that you did during the day to build the house, there was another demolition crew coming in the evening to tear it down. And the next day you got to start all over again. Start building, demolition crew comes in and breaks it down. Go back in, build again, breaks it down. That'd be frustrating, wouldn't it? That's what's happening in our body if we're not using these DPP-4 inhibitors. If you're not using collagen daily on a regular basis and GLP-1 boost with the enzyme inhibitors, both of these with the enzyme inhibitors, you're building and being demolished at the same time. It's backwards. That's not autophagy. This is sabotage is what that is. So that's a totally different mechanism. So you have to have those components all together. So the summary there at the bottom, building muscle causes oxidative stress. You need biochemistry to put out the fire and biological rhythm to rebuild the tissue. You cannot succeed by relying on just one pillar. You cannot. You have to have it all. It's all got to go together. So reclaiming your metabolism permanently. No more yo-yo dieting. I'm personally so confident that it's gone for me that I'm getting rid of all the older clothes. I showed you guys, I cut my belt. I have no intentions of going back to the other size. It's gone. That's 2 inches of it gone. And the other one's already starting to get loose. This jacket that I'm wearing now used to be a little bit tight. It's getting floppier. So not going back to the old way. This is a permanent transition. We do not fight visceral fat through starvation. We fight it through targeted intelligent metabolic design. Expanding your metabolic sink permanently lowers your risk of visceral fat accumulation. So put the muscle on. At the very least, keep the muscle that you have. Remember what I told you. The energy boost that Dr. Prasad formulated has creatine in it. You can do 2 of those in the morning. Not only is it going to give you extra energy, it's also going to cause fluid to go into your muscle and help the muscle when you're fighting against sarcopenia. And creatine is great for the brain also. So every formula that Dr. Prasad has put together is good for us, every single one of them. So next week, you can look forward to part 12 of our series. Again, we're on the home stretch now. So we're exploring the American Heart Association's latest classifications of metabolic disease and the mental resilience required for lifelong victory. So Jeff will be running point on that. But these are the reasons why you want to target Dr. Prasad's formulas. I cannot say enough about the value of them, the benefits. We have all of these in our house and always will have them in our house. They're part of our cabinet at all times, everything, because they work. They work. I can't even pick out 1 or 2 of them that I like the most. I like them all. I'm using less of the GLP-1 boost now than I ever was because I've lost most of what I've needed to lose. I'm just down on the home stretch now, so I'm actually slowing it down a little bit. I'm not on the OMAD anymore. I'm not on the 1 meal a day. Now I actually start eating somewhere around 11 or 12, and then I'll eat again somewhere around 6 or so for the last time. And that's the eating that I do. And the portions are never what they used to be. Never. We went out yesterday down to Miami, so we've decided to start. AI has given me the ability to take some time off now. So because I'm able to use about 25 agents to get a lot of work done for me. So these 25 agents are like 25 employees. They get a lot of work done. So it's actually giving me the ability to now to take a little bit of time off. So Joanne and I just went down to Miami yesterday. We went down to Bayside, and it was hot. It was really hot. We were going to go take a boat tour to see some wildlife, because this is Florida. But the minute they said it was going to be on an airboat, that changed the whole conversation for Joanna. She was done with that idea. So, but anyway, we enjoyed a little meal at a little Cuban restaurant down there, and I got it in my head I wanted a Cuban sandwich. Now I'm not recommending this, but remember I told you before, if you're gonna fall off the wagon, how you can fall off that wagon. So I decided to get me a little Cuban sandwich, and I could barely eat half of it, but we carry our little anti-fall off the wagon component. So I had little bit of yeah, that's right. I had a little bit of apple cider vinegar in my backpack, and Ceylon cinnamon. So that's the way to stop the glucose spike. That's it. That's how you win, even if you end up falling off the wagon. But this is your wagon killer, your wagon slayer. Oh, we'll call it the dragon slayer. But this is your visceral fat slayer right here. If you want to win the war on visceral fat, this collection that you see here is the answer. You want to know how to buy it, which combinations to buy, how to use it, just get back with the person who invited you here, and they will help you to understand exactly the right way to do it, the exact right combinations to go through. And you too can be a winner. We want to hear your story. So next week, part 12, sustained success, CKM syndrome, and live testimonials. Jeff Asprey will be joining us or taking the lead in that discussion for next week. And we have a bonus week will be the following week, because there's an extra week in the month of August that was not on this initial slide when it was created. So that we'll be announcing exactly what that final week is going to be at a later date. But it's going to be interesting. You'll find it to be very useful. And anyone who did not make it to any of the previous parts we'll want to make sure that they're here for that bonus week at the end. Got time for a few questions. If there's something that wasn't clear, can't say that I know I'm not an expert on this subject by any stroke of the imagination, folks. But I can tell you one thing: I know how to get rid of 25 pounds, and I got it off this body, and it ain't coming back anymore. So, Sean Richards, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Jonathan. The good presentation. Two questions. One, I was looking up the zero water filter, right, that you mentioned. And now, does that fit on your sink, or is it just like a plastic filter? What I saw so far was just like plastic, like a pitcher.
Countertop. Yep, just sits right on your countertop.
So it's a pitcher, a plastic pitcher with a filter in it.
Yes, yeah. Our container is about that big, and it's about that tall. And the end of it flops up like this. You put the water in, and it just drains through the filter. It's got a spigot on the bottom where you get the water out of it.
Oh, okay. And you're not concerned about it being plastic, though? That's what I was just wondering.
We actually have a glass container.
Oh, okay.
For transferring the water over into that. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So once it goes in, you got that moment of time that's in the plastic container, but then you can put all that filtered water into an actual glass reservoir.
Okay.
So that's an extra thing if you want to, but I have not personally been concerned about it because the kind of plastic that they're using there is the BPA
free. Yeah. Okay. I was just trying to get away from plastics altogether. So
I got you. But you can go ahead and get one of those, like a 1 gallon glass container.
Right.
And that's the way that the naturopath did it. She would take the water out of this one once it filtered through.
Right.
And now she got all this filtered water.
Right.
Take the filter out, take the entire container and put the container into the glass reservoir.
Okay. So thus no plastic. She's going to drink it.
That's exactly what she recommended. Yes.
Drinking it directly from your glass reservoir. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair enough. Okay.
It's a cheap way of doing it, something simple. And she'd done a ton of research on it. So I trusted her judgment because she did such a phenomenal job on helping Joanna with her burn on her arm. I mean, what she did was absolutely amazing. So she is really good. So when she recommended that one, I went with it. So that's what we're using now until I can find better.
Okay, same here, because I had the other ones before, and I was just concerned about I was going to throw out my plastic pitcher because I just didn't want any plastic. But okay, I'm going to try that one. And my second question, okay, quickly, is just recently I've been inundated with Dr. Gundry's, advertisements about collagen. Like, don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. He says 3 things, right? Because it's not going to make it to your gut. You need vitamin C to absorb it. And there was something else. So what is your take on that?
Blah, 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 blah. I take your Dr. Gundry and I raise you a Dr. Prasad.
Okay. All right. So what is
I
there
trust what that man says, Dr. Prasad. I trust that man over anybody when it comes to this collagen peptide. It's a patented formula.
Okay.
And I know what it's doing for me. And I've seen what it's done for clients. We have I can't even begin to tell you one client, she couldn't walk.
Okay.
Forget Walmart. She would go to Walmart and her husband had to get out of the car and he had to go inside. I guess she would tell him what to buy and everything, but she couldn't do that kind of walking.
Okay.
She was taking micro daily, all of Prasad's formulas, but then when the collagen peptide came out, she added that, strengthened her knees to the point, no longer had knee separation, no longer needed knee surgery, doing her own shopping at Walmart again. That collagen, Dr. Prasad's collagen peptide works.
Right. Okay. And I'll talk to my sponsor about that because what is in his, what makes it different other than, like I know it's like from the bones and whatnot.
Correct. It's a peptide. So it's not collagen itself, it's collagen peptide. So your body has to absorb it, which it does.
Right.
If you have a normal metabolism and your stomach actually works, it will absorb the peptides and your body makes the collagen where it needs it. So you're giving it the raw construction material, number one. Number two, it's got the DPP4 enzyme inhibitor.
Right.
So forget that thing about the vitamin C to protect it. DPP4 enzyme is what inhibitor is what protects it. So the amla fruit, the white tea, that's what protects the collagen that your body makes. It survives it.
Okay. Got it. Okay. All right. So I will talk to that because I was using Truvani before, but and it was pretty clean. but
Mhm.
I'm out of collagen, so I think I'm going to give you guys this a try. Okay.
That would be wise.
Oh, okay. And one last thing too. The when I take the three GLPs though, I can't wait 30 minutes to eat because it's like, oh my God, they make me nauseous.
It make you
So,
nauseous.
oh yeah, yeah, they do. But I like 15 minutes. I hold out as long as I can. I'll drink
Mhm.
some of my I'll drink like I have a kefir type of thing, but non-dairy because I don't do
Yeah.
dairy. I drink that for a minute, but I have to eat with those. I
Do
mean,
what you
they
have to do.
yeah. So I just want to let you know that for me,
Yes.
that's the reaction I'm having, but bloating is going down. And yes, I do,
Excellent.
yep, my clothes are fitting a little, less snug.
There you go. That's excellent. Make sure you come and tell that story next week.
Okay.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much. That's
All
beautiful
right.
to hear.
Okay. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for your question. Ronya Carter.
Yes, I was just curious as to what type or what brand of apple cider vinegar do you use?
Oh, you got to get the best. I think it's Bragg's with the mother.
Well, they say that the Bragg's is now watered down. That's why I'm asking, because I've been using Bragg's for years, but now I don't use it.
Um, okay, good question. Then I don't know. That's the one I use. And even if it's watered down, you need to water it down. So I wouldn't be overly concerned about it being watered down. You need to water it down because if you don't water it down, it's going to ruin your teeth. So
Well, yeah, of course I would water it down, but I'm saying it's coming in already watered down.
that is interesting. I did not know that. I had not heard that. So,
Yeah.
you know what? Send me an email, please, and we'll do the research on it.
Just
Okay.
FYI, guys, on that, I use Kirkland Organic, raw and unfiltered Kirkland's apple cider vinegar from Costco.
The Costco brand.
Yeah, so, and it's organic, so just FYI.
Very
And
good.
and I also heard that Dr. Berg has one, Fairchild's apple cider vinegar, so I was thinking to get that.
Okay. Please send me an email, and then because we want to push that information out. If there's a better one, I like hearing about the Kirkland and love hearing about Dr. Berg's. So we'll push that information out. So please push it out for me, okay? Send me an email
Okay.
on it.
Sure will.
Thank you, Ron. You're wonderful. Dolores Levat.
Yeah, Jonathan, excuse me. I was just thinking as I listened to what the different questions are. One thing that we have to remember as affiliates in talking with a person that we share the product with, when doctors are saying adverse things about, like the collagen, they're not talking about Dr. Prasad's collagen. They're talking about collagen that's other, that's out that they're not familiar with Dr. Prasad's collagen because, like you say, I trust Dr. Prasad. I've taken these products for years and I know they work. So they're not talking about that. You just have to realize
Because they don't know Dr. Prasad.
they don't know Dr. Prasad. That's exactly right. And when it comes to the apple cider vinegar, now if it's watered down, it must not have gotten to Albany yet because mine is so strong. When I'm using it, so maybe that's true, but mine is, and I'm using the Bragg's.
Okay. Very good. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Corleen Chavez.
Hey, Jonathan, how are you today?
Very good. Welcome. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, I just want to say this has been an amazing series that you've put together. And everywhere I go, all I see is visceral fat. So I'm just saying, it's like, oh boy. But look, I want to spell the name of the cinnamon again, please.
Ceylon, Ceylon, Ceylon cinnamon.
Okay. And why do you say that's the best one? I'm just curious.
It's the real McCoy. It's the pure cinnamon. The other one is make believe and contaminated and industrially produced or chemically produced. But Ceylon cinnamon, it's cinnamon. It's real cinnamon.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your question and thank you for your feedback.
Yeah.
The iPhone, I don't know who the iPhone is, but you better hurry up. Say it if you gotta say it.
I was just going to say that the Ceylon cinnamon with my bedtime tea puts me to sleep and helps me lose fat. It
That's
works, Jonathan. It works.
Where do you find it?
Fantastic. Anywhere, grocery
Amazon.
stores, just
Amazon.
anywhere. Amazon, grocery stores,
Amazon.
anywhere. It's so common, it's not even funny. It's a shame that we don't know about this stuff. That's all.
All right.
You guys
thank
are wonderful. Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for joining us. If you know someone who need to hear this information, send them the link, please. Tell them about this kind of information. Let them know about it. My team 615. We'll see you then. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next week. Remember Jeff Ashby next Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.